you've all been waiting patiently. It is 7:09 p.m. on 8/9/2002, and I'm Charlie Obert. I'm the Vice Chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission for the town of Thompson, Connecticut. I'm calling together the August meeting for regular business with attendance and roll call, and I'll go first to Charlie Obert, acting as chair.
Diane Chapin, Commissioner.
Fran Morano, Commissioner.
Marla Butts, Wetlands Agent.
Okay. We have no alternates and nobody to appoint, so we move on to the next item, which is approving minutes from our previous meeting of July 12th. I read them, saw nothing. Does any other commissioner?
I did as well, and I didn't see anything.
Looks good.
So we just approve it by acclamation. We will have 2 points on our agenda where we will entertain questions and comments from the members of the community that are here tonight. One of them is now, but at other points, we do appreciate that the comments will be kept, and you'll keep your phones muted and kept quiet. Are there any questions, concerns, or issues that we should know about from the members of the community that are here?
Charlie Jean's got her hand up.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, go ahead, please.
Oh,
Unmute.
excuse me, that was my hand. I'm sorry. That was my hand. I'm sorry.
It's been a long day. Okay.
Never
if
mind.
Nobody has anything. We'll move on to the next item, which is applications. Sections. I got so many computers open here. I can't keep the screen straightened out.
Charlie,
Application.
can you screen share? Can you screen share?
I could. I haven't activated that, but I suppose I could. Who's the moderator?
You
Amy
are good.
is the-
You're good to share.
Okay. What would you like me to share, Marla?
The Zoom documents.
Wait, that may be problematic. I opened that up on my other computer before I came over here. Let me get it. I can get it. I have to save it here. Or you could share it if that works quickly.
My bandwidth is not wide enough to be able
All
to
right,
support
I'll
it.
have it up in just a moment or three. I have to save it and then open it up on the other computer. Technology, wonderful.
Marla, the Zoom documents aren't posted online, are they?
Yes, they are.
Do you want me
They're
to try to
located
get it?
under, they're under the agenda.
All right, now open it up here. Let's see.
Jason, I'm unmuted, please. Jason, I'm still unmuted. Let's see.
It's a matter of getting where I can share them. Let's see.
Wait, I'm unmuted. All right, how's this?
Okay.
Perfect.
That works. But
I can probably
Charlie
make it bigger, it'll
usually,
just-
the problem is who's gonna roll the pages?
I
So if
can-
Charlie
Whoever's
has
got
it, he
it.
can. All right,
I'm still complicated because I can, if I get it up on a computer that I've got my Zoom meeting on, I don't know if I can keep track of, that's why I had it on the other system, 2 screens.
Amy
So
says that she
if you've
can-
got it open,
can
then please, whoever has it, keep it going. You there? Now what? Now I've lost everything. No,
we're
I
on
haven't.
page 9.
Okay.
We're on page 9.
Got it. Okay, I'm back there. So, scroll up, please. Applications.
Page 9.
There.
That's correct one.
Yes.
Okay, this is a wetlands application, agent's approval, and it's came in from Emily Kreidler at 31 Bacola Road, and the assessor's map. They want to demolish an existing home and reconstruct a new home on the same location with the same, with a new well within the 100-foot upland review area for the little pond. And we received this on 6/15, and it was issued on July 19th, and the legal notice went out on August 5th, and there's an appeal date till the 20th. So
No
that
action is required by the commission at this time.
good, thank you. Next item is IWA 22020, and it's LaValley Construction LLC, 0 Donovan Drive, assessor's map 3, block 80, lot 2D, where there's a request to fill 690 square feet of wetlands and work in the 100-foot upland review area for construction of 2 single-family homes with wells and septic systems. Note the proposal was involved a subdivision splitting, and it's 2 lots, and the site walk was on the most recent one was 3/12/22. Update.
So Charlie, yes, so if you go down to page 10, there was some confusion apparently about what applications were which ones between inland wetlands and planning and zoning. Go to page 11.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yep, there's a chart there, and it explains all the different applications from wetlands to planning and zoning. So the Inland Wetlands Commission had originally approved the subdivision back in 2018. That permit is still valid, and it covered all the lots. It covered the road construction and the discharge. And that is good until 2032. And that was because they passed a public act last year that gave them all that length of time. Now, unfortunately, the LaValley Lane, which was previously known as Patriot Way, expired. And so that was being reapplied for through planning and zoning to get approval for that. And I believe that's going to public hearing. There's no action by the commission required for that because the inland wetlands permit is still valid. And then there was a re-subdivision of 3 lots into 4 lots, and the commission rendered a decision on that last month. In that case, the application had no change from the work that was originally proposed. Although the lot lines changed, the grading in the upland review area did not. And so that's cleared through also. It's covered by the original permit, the work proposed in that re-subdivision. So this application that was brought before the commission is to divide lot 2D into 2 lots, and there's a little small wet spot. It was part of a part of a gravel mining operation, and this was a depression that was left and sometimes has water in it and sometimes doesn't. And that also is pending before the Planning and Zoning Commission. So if you scroll down to page 12, that shows the location of, might want to change the screen to a single page. So it shows where the lot 2D is. It's near the beginning of the streets. It spans both sides of Donovan Drive. And if you scroll down again to page 13, you can see from that the lot line that is being proposed, how that's being proposed to be divided into 2 lots, and the wet spot is located in the very middle of the southwestern corner of the original lot. And then if you scroll down to page 14, you will see that there's an upland review area that just very barely hits some grading in the southwest corner of the lot. Very, very tiny amount of grading work, next to nothing. The majority of the work that's required for this permit is found on page 15. You scroll down to page 15. These plans, by the way, were presented last month, and so I'm just going back over them because the commission needs to render a decision on this application. It technically has another 30 days, but the developer is anxious to find out if the commission will approve it so that he can get through his re-subdivision through the Planning and Zoning Commission. So you can see from this, the blue are the wetlands that were previously delineated in the original subdivision. And the area that he wants to fill is located right underneath the driveway, as you can see. And I believe the next page down, 16, page 16, is what we have received recently. It's the NDDH approval for the septic system with the lot that has the wetlands in it. The lot that has the very tiny minor amount of grading in the upland review area already has a septic system approval because that's where the house was originally going to be built when it was going to be just 1 lot. So there is an NDDH approval for the design. So at this juncture, I believe, I don't see anybody here. Don't know if Janet is online. Let's see. She is. Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
So I kind of went through everything that we had. The Wetlands Commission did do a site walk. Charlie, you missed it. That was the day we saw the mining operation, but Fran and Diane have seen it. And so if you want to explain what kind of provisions went into the lot development, particularly the one on the southwest corner, the southwestern portion of the lot for the new home that's got the new NDDH approval, explain that so the commission can understand how water will shed off the property and what effects that might or might not have.
I'd be happy to do that. I'm Janet Blanchett with J&D Civil Engineers. If we could potentially go back up to sheet 15. Yeah, that's perfect. So this lot right in the middle where it says Wetlands H, that is proposed to be filled. It's about 690 square feet. And just recently in April of 2022, we did have Margaret Washburn verify that that is not functioning as a vernal pool. So that, that's important. What happened since that was a previous gravel bank is water comes basically looking at the sheet kind of from left to right, and then it just infiltrates into the ground because this area has Hinkley sand and gravel. We want to make sure that it continues to just sink into the ground and doesn't flow off into the neighboring property to the right. So the grading was designed so that the proposed driveway is slightly elevated above the front lawn. So if any runoff does come off the hill to the left, it will kind of be forced to infiltrate into the front yard because the driveway will kind of create that little depression. And we're only talking like a 1-foot depression. It's not going to be an unsightly hole, but that should continue the hydrology the way it is under existing conditions.
So if the ground were frozen, Janet, and it would fill up with water, where would the water go?
Well, eventually, if it filled up so high, it would flow over the driveway towards the right. But if you wouldn't mind panning this drawing up just slightly, you can go. I guess then if we can see the bottom of the sheet. Perfect. This lot actually owns quite a bit of land to the right. You can see that dog leg. So even if it flows over the driveway, it's most likely going to be on their own lot. Or at least as much their own lot as you can make it.
I have a question. This blue area here that we're looking at that shows up in the proposed driveway, that's residual from a gravel mining operation. It's just a shallow depression. Will there be efforts to level the whole area off so that water doesn't go in there, or is it just going to let it go as it goes?
The area has very rough grading right now, with like steep slopes going down to the hole that was excavated. So the site will be leveled off, but a depression will be kind of created in the front yard. A slight depression. You can see the existing contours, how, there's hills and valleys, mounds and depressions. It was just left as a rough graveled condition.
And there won't be any kind of a curbing or culvert to keep the water going down Donovan Drive. It's going to sheet where it sheets.
This lot is lower than Donovan Drive, so it's water from the road won't run onto this lot because of the curbing and the catch basin, but water from this lot will not exit onto Donovan Drive. It's below the road.
So, Charlie, I can give you a little bit more evaluation. This wetland, it exists by soil type alone. It doesn't exist as a swamp, marsh, or a bog, and it's not a vernal pool. Its functionality as a wetland is extremely limited. It's not providing flood storage to any significant effect. It's not providing for wildlife habitat. I don't see it as being something that's used for recreation. It is an artifact, even though that 690 square feet of wetlands will be destroyed, which is a permanent loss. There is the value in it as a wetland is next to nothing from a wetland standpoint. And that's based on my experience in the past.
Yeah, I want to refresh your memory. I don't know the date, but you and Ms. Blanchett and I were out there. I think it was Ms. Blanchett. It could have been the soil scientist. We did a survey of the whole place. It was winter time, so we could walk around and see everything. And so I recall the reports. I recall that it was a gravel mine. And so, yeah, you say that wetlands will be destroyed forever, but it was destroyed during the gravel operation. We just want to remediate the leftover from the gravel. And it's not my job to remediate that. I don't see that as a threat to the larger wetlands. But then we just came from a site last week where from a gravel
Yeah, I know.
operation, and there's all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
So
They're not my
Charlie,
concern. They're not inland wetlands concerns.
Charlie, this wetlands was created by the gravel mining operation. It did not exist, in my opinion. It would not have existed prior to the mining operation occurring. It is created by the mining operation. It's not a historic wetland, so to speak. When I speak historic, I mean, it's not one that came back from glaciation and like we have many of our wetland systems.
Yes.
It was a man-made artifact of recent times. And by recent times, I mean within probably the past 50 to 60 years.
I agree. Okay. Anything else we need to know? Commissioners? Questions?
I don't have any questions. This is Commissioner Chapin. I'd say we make a motion to approve it. I don't know what the number is, so somebody wants to put it in front of me, I'd be happy to make a motion.
Well, we'll take care of the numbers because
If
there it is.
Amy could scroll back up to page 10, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so I make a motion to approve IWA 22020 La Valley Construction LLC, 0 Donovan Drive, Assessors Map 3, Block 80, Lot 2D, filling 690 square feet of wetlands and work in the 100-foot upland review area for the construction of 2 single-family homes with wells and septic systems.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion? Let's move the, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amy, if you could scroll to page 17. Thank you.
This is agenda item EB. I've lost my original. I got too many screens here. We are looking at WAA 22023 Brandon's Stand, 42 Logie Road, Assessors Map 141, Block 14, Lot 184S, 184T, 184U. 8 by 32 addition to home on existing concrete slab. Demolition of existing detached garage with a new 24 by 24 detached garage. Construct a 24 by 8 retaining wall within 100-foot upland review area of the Aquatic Reservoir. And it was stamped as received on 8/2, so it's under review, and we do need to review it.
So, Charlie, this is a wetlands agent approval application. And I've given you the application, but if you scroll to page 22, that is a view from Map Geo that was written on by Mr. Stand, trying to identify the location of the addition. It's in the, it looks like it's on lot part, that there's 3 lots here. The property, the house and the garage and the yard span 3 lots. These lots are leased from the Aquatic Campgrounds, Inc. But the house is owned by Mr. Stand. And so the application has been signed off by the president of the corporation. And he does not have detailed site plans for this, but he does have some drawings. So he shows where the garage, and these are to scale. The garage is located up near Logie Road, which is a private road. And he will demolish the garage that it almost covers. And then he's got the addition at the southwest side of the house. And then the retaining wall that he wants to build is a waste concrete block retaining wall. And that's located north of the house. And the only real land disturbance would be associated with the construction of the retaining wall. He said that the retaining wall is 8 feet high and it is an engineered structure. And he wants to backfill it so that he has a flattened portion of his yard. And if you scroll down to page 23, that shows a view of the expansion for the house, the addition that he wants to make. And then he has also approached the Natural Diversity Database for a review at DEEP, and he's received a report from them. But what I don't have from him is a sign-off, a clear sign-off from the Northeast District Department of Health. And that's what is under review, because the paperwork that I found in the building permits files showed the garage at a different location, originally submitted to NDDH. And I want to make sure that NDDH knows that the garage position has been moved and the fact that he wants to build this retaining wall which did not show up on the paperwork in the building office's records. So it's under review. There's no action required by the commission at this time.
Thank you. Request to amend
Next up.
agenda.
Yes,
That's not-
I'm requesting that the amended be agenda to include this application, which inadvertently got left off.
We need a motion,
So, yes, you do.
commissioners?
Yeah, so are we amending it to put this Brandon Stands?
No, please scroll to page 25, Amy.
Okay. So request to amend the agenda to include WAA 22022 in Acquisitions Associates LLC 286 Thompson Hill Road, Assessor's Map 103, Block 40, Lot 2. Construct new single-family home with portion of driveway, septic system, and utilities in a 100-foot upland review area. Stamp received 7/25/22.
I'll
Under
second.
review.
And the motion was made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the agenda has been amended to review this wetlands agent application. And is
If,
this the point where
Amy,
we're
you
doing
could,
it?
yes. If
Okay.
Amy, you could scroll to page 26. If you recall, the Thompson Manor had come in for a subdivision to carve off a single family home lot. And I had received a call that somebody claiming that somebody was filling wetlands or putting a conduit or doing work in wetlands. And I went out there and found that that the utilities for the new home, which had not come yet before the commission for wetlands agent approval, the underground utilities had been installed in mostly in the non-regulated area, but a small portion was in the upland review area. So I contacted Andrew Silverston at In Acquisitions Associates LLC, the owner of the property, and found out that this was a new lot that had not yet been transferred, and there was no deed yet been filed for the lot that was approved by the Inland Wetlands Commission in its conceptual subdivision approval, SUB 21027. And I confirmed with Assessor Paul Hopkins that the new lot number would be Lot 2E. And so we were going to keep that reference in the application. However, if the new deed was not filed in the next several days, which it was not, Mr. Silverston, they could keep Mr. Silverston as the applicant and provide a new volume and page when they file the deed. But if they didn't file the deed, then I would have the application on hold until I received the updated information and the NDDH approval letter. So I'm recognizing that this application was filed early in response to the complaint that I had received. And with the filing of this application, I'm closing the complaint. As of yesterday, and that should have said 8/8, not 8/7, that was Sunday. I checked with Paul Hopkins, the assessor, and the deed has still not been filed. So the property will keep the current reference of map 102, block 40, lot 2, and the address of the property will remain as 286 Thompson Hill Road, at least and until the deed for the new lot is filed on the land records. This should not hold up my processing of the application. What's holding up the processing of the application is the Northeast District Department of Health approval of the septic design. Once that comes through, then this application will be approved as a wetlands agent approval. And I provided you with a copy of the application, which you can look at your leisure and get in contact with me if you have any concerns. And if you go to page 32 of the Zoom documents, you will see the approximate location of the underground utilities. And you can see that the underground utilities, we're not going to follow the existing driveway. They're actually going up through the access way and connecting to Brookside Drive, which I was frankly kind of surprised that they didn't have the original access from Brookside Drive, but they chose to keep it on the original driveway. But the area that was altered is where you see the words approximate U/G utilities. That's where the work has already been done in the upland review area, but that's the only work, and there was no problem to the wetlands. There was no erosion. It's very flat grades in that location. And so there's no action required by the Inland Wetlands Commission at this time, as I'm waiting for the NEDH approval to come in. But you have the plans there that if you have any concerns, you can let me know. So Amy, you can go to page 35. Unless the commission has some questions.
Negative.
All right. (34, 35). Agenda item E.C, applications received after the agenda was published. And that is WAA 22024. It's a Thomas Shippey, and it's a 4 Low G Road, Assessor's Map 141, Block 17, Lot 184 AAC, and it's to construct a solar photovoltaic array on a single pole using 100 foot in the 100-foot upland review area for Aquatic Reservoir, and it was received on 8/3, and it's under review.
So Charlie, it is my anticipation to be issuing this wetlands agent approval in the next couple of days. If you scroll down to page 40 of the Zoom documents, the work for the installation of the PVC solar array is on a sonotube. The pole will be put into a sonotube. And it's located real close to the house where his electrical service is. There'll be next to nothing for land disturbance. So this doesn't really require a lot of review at this point in time. I did not require an NDDB review because every NDDB review that we've gotten from DEP, it has to be something associated with the water for them to get concerned with. So this one I will issue this shortly. No action is required by the commission at this time.
Okay. Agenda item F1, permit extensions and changes. And we see modify IWA 21009, which is for Neil P. LLC at 520 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 85, Block 95, and Lot 10A is to reduce the size of a previously approved construction of a 132-foot by 54-foot new commercial building and add construction of a small car wash building next to it. Approval WAA 21009 issued at 5/11 and 2021, and the request to modify was received 7/13/22. Information.
So Charlie, I have provided to you on page 42 of the Zoom documents, one of the original drawings for the original building. And so that you could compare that to the proposed modification. On page 42 of the Zoom documents, the grayed out portion on the plan is the new building that they were going to build. And if you scroll down to the next page, Janet Blanchette, I believe, is still here and can explain what it is that he's asking for, but the July 25th letter requesting modification is there, and the plans If you go to page 45 of the Zoom documents, you will see what the proposal is. Now, if you can remember what it looked like in the original approval, and then you see it now. Janet, are you there?
Yeah, yes, I am, Marla.
Okay.
Sure, I'd be happy to go over Mr. Patel's proposal. I mean, previously he had one large building, and basically now he has a large building and a small building. They're both pretty much going in the same proposed location on the site. It's the same amount of impervious area. It's the same grading. Same erosion control. So it's from the perspective of the actual plan modification that was required, it was very minimal. And I guess I can take any questions, or Marla can add any insight.
Where's the
So
water gonna where's the water for the car wash going to come from?
Any drips that would be left on a vehicle that would drip off in the parking lot will be routed into a catch basin in the parking lot and directed via a pipe to the backyard, where there's a proposed approved stormwater bioretention area. After treatment and infiltration in that bioretention area, there's an overflow to another isolated depression located on the property. So there's no proposed of any clean drips of water that come off the car. It's not going to enter any intermittent water courses or the river or even a wetland directly. It's pretty much going to be directed to the groundwater.
Okay, I didn't state that properly. Where will they get the water to wash the cars? Will it be pumped out of the river, or will it be water that comes from the municipal water supply?
It'll be water that comes from the municipal water system.
Okay.
And these days, because of the cost of purchasing water as a utility, these days they do have pretty good technologies with recycling and reclaiming and refiltering water. So every car is not, fresh water from Connecticut water.
Okay. And this just came in. So when do we have to make a decision on this, Marla?
You can, Marla Butt speaking, you can make a decision tonight. Originally, this started out as a wetlands agent approval application and got converted to an individual permit in the original application. And that is because if you look at the drawing that's on your screen right now, there was a discharge, a stormwater discharge that comes from across the street and goes through this property and discharges now that into a wetland area. Now that when we looked at it originally in the original application, that water, there was water flowing out of that culvert. The proposal is still to relocate that culvert from the inside of the lot to the outside of the lot. That doesn't change. But because you have that wetlands there, everything that's within 100 feet of that is subject to upland review area. And so part of the stormwater infiltration system, some of the construction, some of the building is located within 100 feet of that wetland, that discharge pipe front that's carrying that water course. And that's why it comes before you. I don't see any problems or objections to approving this modification because the discharge in the building from the car wash will be going to the waste treatment facility. It doesn't get drained off. What they cannot use or recycle will go into the not the storm sewer, but the sanitary sewer. And they will have to get permission to connect into the sanitary sewer for that discharge. So technically, it doesn't change the effects of stormwater runoff as best I can see. The only thing that I would suggest is that the entire stormwater drainage system be installed before the buildings get built. And the reason for that is if you notice to the north, behind the current building, the existing building where the daycare is, there's an infiltrator system there, and that infiltration system was supposed to connect to the one that's going to be built behind the new building. And as far as I know, the one behind the proposed new building, it wasn't built. So the system hasn't been completed. So I think that one of the conditions of approval of this modification is that the stormwater system and stormwater treatment system be completed, be built before the building gets built. And I don't know how the applicant would feel on that, but I don't want to see the building get built and then find that the stormwater infiltration system hasn't been constructed, because it's critical to this operation.
I'm not sure if the applicant, Mr. Patel, is in the audience this evening, but speaking as his representative, I do not think that would be an unreasonable request. I think that would be very appropriate and not difficult to accomplish to put that in first. I mean, it wouldn't be planted with the final species and everything until the building was built, but the basic shape of it, the excavation, the infiltration capacity could easily all be built before the building.
So Charlie, since this is a modification of an individual permit, it would have to be the commission that does that approval. I cannot do it, even though it's just in the upland review area. And didn't know if you wanted, you don't have to render a decision tonight if you want to think it over, or you can approve it tonight, and I would issue the correspondence for that, but I have no objection to the issuance of this modification, providing the storm water infiltration system and bioretention areas get built before they get constructed before the building gets built.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the modification of IWA 21009 of Neil P. LLC, 520 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 85, Block 95, Lot 10A, to reduce the size of the previously approved construction of a 132-foot by 54-foot new commercial building and add the construction of a small car wash building next to it with the condition that what was it, Marla?
That these stormwater bioretention areas be constructed prior to the construction of the building,
Correct.
of
That's
any building.
all right.
Okay, we have a motion
Yeah, Commissioner Chapin, I'll second it.
and second discussion. I'm looking at page 42 and seeing the original, and looking at page 45 and seeing the revision. And yes, the footprint is smaller, but I also see apparently there is a buried pipe that part of the regular municipal stormwater that goes underneath that building now. Am I correct? It goes underneath that site, whether there's a building there or not.
That's being proposed to be relocated under the original permit, and it will still be relocated.
Okay, so
That's
that's all
not-
gonna
that's
disappear
not-
to the left.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? Let's move to a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? And there's no opposition. It carries unanimously. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And now we're looking at agenda item F2, permit extension or changes, and let's modify the permit of WAA 22013 for Hani Yosef at 274 Riverside Drive, Assessors Map 87, Block 95, Lot 39, to include replacing existing concrete slab for the construction of a commercial building on existing foundation for non-medical cannabis facility. Approved WAA 22013 was issued on 6/27/22, and a modified request came in on 8/2/2002. So please explain what modification?
Okay, so Charlie, on page 52 of the Zoom documents is what was originally approved. There was a foundation that was existing, and the applicant was stated that he was going to keep the existing foundation and concrete slab to that. Unfortunately, when his contractor got out there, because there was authorized to be some minor repairs to the foundation wall that had gotten damaged when the burnt building was demolished. And that was included in the original wetlands agent approval. However, when the contractor hired by Mr. Yosef came in to do work, he found a couple of things wrong. One, he found that the north wall of the foundation did not meet code. Second, the concrete pad upon which they were going to build the building, he had been advised by a prior contractor that they could just pour over the existing one because it was all cracked and not really level. And the contractor that he hired to do the work found out that to connect the sewers in the building, they would have to have problems connecting to it. And because of all the problems with the foundation and the concrete slab, he dug up the concrete slab and dug up the north wall of the foundation. And I happened to drive by on a Friday and saw it. And then the following Monday, I made some contacts, and Mr. Yosef on the 2nd of this Monday of last week, he sent me an email that said, and that's on page 53 of your Zoom documents. Hi, Marla, this is Haney Yosef. Thank you for speaking with me today. Request for modification of the wetlands agent approval for the application WAA 22013 to replace the slab. Working with the old slab was going to require trench digging and then fill it up with cement after. Not knowing where the septic runs to, it was never going to look right, and the old slab was not leveled. As for the cell fence, it's already in place. I think he meant to say silt fence. It's not a silt fence that's in place, by the way. It is a wattle. Those are those hay-filled tubes, and the contractor put that in, and that was in very early on. He knew what he was doing. And he said, thank you very much. Contact me if you have questions. Well, subsequent to that, I got contacted by the contractor, and we discussed what it was that he needed to do, what other work he might be doing, so he could include it all in. So he provided to Mr. Yosef a map and a description of the additional work in the upland review area that needed to be done in order to properly get this foundation in order. And so you see on page 54 of the Zoom documents, there are 4 areas, and he's provided, the contractors provided Mr. Yosef an explanation of the modifications. So if you look at page 54, I will read to you the modification request. Area A, after removing the concrete slab inside the building, it was noticed that the highlighted foundation wall was resting on grade. Code calls for the wall to be at least 42 inches below grade. That section of the wall would need to be removed and excavated, and a new frost wall installed to meet code requirements. That's section item A. Item B, property has a well on site. We need to dig a 12-foot trench 36 inches deep to tap into the existing T on the well line. And that is item B. C, cut 3 inches of asphalt parking lot back to fix broken edges. That has already been done. I drove by the other day, and that's already in place. And D, removing existing concrete slabs to locate and relocate underground sewer lines for new bathrooms and new break rooms. due to the nature of the existing slab and the amount of saw cutting needed to install new underground pipes, pouring new slabs makes more sense. So what started out as basically building on top of an existing foundation is basically replacing the concrete slab to install the utilities and to do the repairs that need to be done. I was told by the contractor that he thought that the wellhead had been damaged when the building was demolished. It had burnt down, and then the debris was removed, and that the wellhead somehow had gotten damaged at that time. I have no objection to issuing a modification to this, providing there are no other changes as far as grades being changed. Everything is fairly small area, and it's contained. It's not in the 100-year floodplain. It is not in the floodway. It's a urbanized area already. It's been well developed, and there are erosion and sediment controls in place. I would have preferred a better drawing, a better site plan, but this, I can, based on what I have here, I can see that it's not going to cause an adverse effect to the river. The area of disturbance is small, and the erosion controls that are in place should adequately handle that. So if you have no objection, I will grant this modification, but I wanted to bring it to your attention to see what your feeling was. As you recall, you reviewed this because this was the proposed recreational cannabis facility, depending on whether or not Mr. Yosef won the lottery or not for the facility. Do you have any questions?
I do not.
I agree with what you said on 2 points. Number one, it would be nice if the drawing didn't say one-story restaurant in 1992. And also, it does appear that there's small disturbance areas very focused on what needs to be done. So I agree with your assessment there as well. And I have no objections. So do we need to put that to a vote?
No, because it's a wetlands agent approval. I just wanted to get your input to make sure that I was okay with the approach that I was taking.
And,
So no action is required by you. I will proceed to approve that modification, and I'll keep an eye on the site.
And I have a curious note that popped in because of one of your last comments. You said proposes that he wins the lottery, but he has to have this built in order to be qualified for the lottery, doesn't he? So it's not something that you
no.
had started and stopped?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that. But regardless, he still has to get his building permits, and the building permits will have to come through the wetlands office for approval. So I'll get to see what the actual, layout design is and make sure that it's compatible with what he stated to the Wetlands Commission.
Thank you. Yes. All right, then we
And
can
that's
move
it. If
along.
no- Yep. To page 56.
So we're looking at agenda item G-A, violations and pending enforcement actions. And the notice of violation is VIOL 21023. It's a Jamie Pettit. I thought we put this away. 0 and 73 Center Streets Assessments lot, Assessors Map 16, Block X, lots H and 2. Unauthorized construction of retaining wall associated with backfill in or near Little Pond, and it was issued 8/24/21 and the status.
As you recall, the commission had decided that as long as it had an adequate as-built drawing, they would not pursue the matter any further, as long as the as-built drawing that it found to be acceptable was placed on the land records. So I had contacting Killingly Engineering. This last month, I reported that Killingly Engineering had developed a Mylar, and they were just waiting for Jamie Pettit to come and pick it up. I called their office today, finding that there hadn't been anything filed on the land records yet. And I was told by Norm Tybo of Killingly Engineering that the Mylar still is in their office, that Ms. Pettit has not come and picked it up. So earlier this afternoon, I sent an email off to Jamie Pettit and asked her for a timetable for when she is going to get it filed on the land records, because until it's filed on the land records, the violation file will stay open.
Okay. Next item is item agenda GB, violations pending actions, and it's a notice of permit violation, VOL 21032, permit IWA 20022, Mark Bear at 1227 Thompson Road, Assessors Map 116, Block 24, Lot 10. Grades not as authorized in the modified plan, approved by the commission on 2/9/21. Status?
So on this one, as you recall, that the commission had decided that they would want an as-built plan once all the grading work was done for its approval, and that no building permit, certificate of occupancy, we would request that no certificate of occupancy be issued until the commission finds the site conditions and shown in the as-built drawing acceptable. And that last meeting, I had reported that the building inspector had a stop work order on the site for the foundation, and he wasn't satisfied with the water sealing requirements. And that has since been lifted. So there is no stop work order on the site. However, I'm going to have to take another look out there. I tried to reach Mr. Bear today, but I didn't get him. I didn't make my connection through him, and I was only going to get voicemail. So I'm going to send a correspondence to him asking for what plans he has for the remainder of the site grading and what is his schedule. I've received some concerns by an abutting property owner that there has been some stone walls, that part of the stone wall may be existing on their property and not on Mr. Bear's property. And if all the walls are built, there would be a difficulty potentially of rectifying that unacceptable condition if it's unacceptable. So I need to get a clarity as to what is Mr. Bear's schedule of operations and what additional work still needs to be done before the Wetlands Commission would see an as-built drawing. The walls between the house and Route 193 have been considered to be acceptable. Daniel Blanchette did do an evaluation of them, and I have forwarded that to DOT. I've gotten nothing back on that. It appears that there might be a third wall, retaining wall. I'm not sure, but based upon what I'm hearing is the amount of stones that are being brought in, that there may be another wall being built that we don't have on the plans that are in the office. So I need to get better clarity about where Mr. Bear is going on his site work. And hopefully I'll have some information for you next meeting. No
All
action
right.
is required by the commission.
Okay. The next item on the is item C, and it's a notice of violation of VOL 22008, Rodney LeMay at 0 Aquatic Farm Town Road. Assessors map 160, block 11, lot 15, an unauthorized clearing and cutting and grading in the wetlands, and issued by acting wetlands agent on 3/21/22, and the status is?
Okay, so this past weekend, there was a forest fire in the area of Mr. LeMay's property. Wasn't on his property, as best I know. It was on the Boy Scouts of the Narragansett Boy Scouts property. You know, the one that last year you granted a timber harvest. They had 3 large tracts of land. And right now I'm conducting an investigation. Apparently the fire marshal told me that DEP has some involvement. Exactly what that involvement is unclear to me at this time. there had been reports of deer baiting in the area last fall. And DEEP does have the authority to enter onto private property, which I, as a town employee, do not. And I'm going to be in touch with them to see if they have any information about if they are conducting an investigation of the deer baiting, can they look around and see if there's any issues regarding filling of wetlands. And so that's the direction that I'm taking that violation in. It may not be a violation at all. But I need to see if I can get some better information from the DEEP.
Okay.
That's it for that one.
Agenda item H, other business. Update on proposed revisions to zoning regulations and subdivisions regulations.
Okay, so the Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee is meeting on Monday, next Monday, on August 15th, to discuss the 2022 zoning regulations update. There will be a lot of areas involved in that update, including portions of dealing with agriculture, household fowl, livestock, net buildable area. And that net buildable area was originally was removed from the reference given in the old subdivision regulations. And I have, as you are aware, have concerns about that. And there's also some reference to lot sizes. And so they're probably going to be discussing that. I have asked for an in-house meeting to hammer out the language that might be used and to discuss the implications that the new FEMA maps might have on development in the floodplains. Janet Blanchette has been involved in providing some comment to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and she has made a suggestion about potential language that may possibly address most of my concerns, but maybe not all of them. And so I am pursuing an in-house discussion so that we can be speaking from one voice between the chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission, town planner, Tira, and myself, and Janet Blanchette, and Amy, to try to see if we can come up with a single voice, because I think it's much better by the time that the commission goes to a public hearing. I think these issues between the people in-house should be resolved, if at all possible. So that's where that stands right now. And the subdivision regulations, I presume they're kind of taking a little bit of a backseat, because until the appendices for road construction specifications are developed, and J&D has been hired to draft the language for the appendices on road construction, which the original ones were grossly inadequate. So that's where that all stands. Stay tuned.
Question about the in-house meeting that you're suggesting. I agree that that would be appropriate. I'm wondering whether the town's attorney should also have a representation, because these are legal statutes that we're working on, and they do interface and interlock with state and federal requirements as well.
That would be premature and it'd be very expensive. The best thing to do is to come up with the language that you want. And then once you find the language that you want, then you take it to the attorneys and say, these are the questions we have on it. If you have questions on it. And so it's a little premature to take it to attorney at this time until we can come to some kind of in-house agreement on what the language would be. The devil's in the details on this, as to how it will.
Those of us who were at the last town meeting realized that there was last-minute calls for amendments to the various ordinances that were being proposed. I strongly recommend that we urge Zoom meetings be conducted on these things in advance of getting people together. We already know it's a hot button issue in the town, And I'm speaking, I hope Amy is still around where she can hear, because this is an opportunity for things to go spectacularly wrong in a hurry. And I don't think the amount of work that's gone in on this, it's too important. It's necessary for this town to meet or exceed the requirements of the state and federal government, as well as the residents of the town. And if we don't do this right after all this time, most of you and the audience here may not realize that Economic Development Commission pushed the initiative to revise our zoning regulations when we saw how disjointed and fractured it was, and parts of it had not been addressed since the 1960s. And it's just, it was way out of line, making us non-competitive and hurting the town. So it's a lot of work has been done over the last 3 years to get to this point, and there is opposition. And I think that we would be foolish not to try to sort it out and diffuse it in advance. And next item on the agenda, I guess. Citizens' comments. I told you we'd give you 2 chances. Does anybody have anything that came up as a result of our discussion so far? Oh, what a talkative bunch. All right. I don't hear anything, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'm going to move on to item J, which are our reports, our budgets and expenditures report.
Okay, it's Commissioner Chapin. I have the budget from July 1st through July 30th and a vocal dog. We used $1,243, which appears to be Wetlands salary. And we are at having used 4.5% of our allotted budget.
Sounds about right. Any other comments? We need a motion to approve it, or we just approve it by claim, Mark? Okay.
I
All
want
right.
this thing turned off.
Pardon me? I thought I heard somebody say something.
I did too, but I don't know who or what.
Okay. All right, then the next item on the agenda is our wetlands agent report.
Okay, again, we haven't made any I haven't made any progress on the MS4. Somebody talking? Oh.
I think
Made on the MS4 2019, 2021, and now it'll be add the 2022 annual report if I keep waiting much longer, or the MS4 contracts, or the drafting of the inland wetlands regulation amendments. Fran Morano came in to the wetlands office on July 18th and worked through 1 box of records for disposal. We got 1 more box to go, and thank you, Fran, for your help. So we did make a little progress on records disposal. As I discussed under Haney Yosef's request for modification, the date that I saw his site was on July 29th. When I drove by, and I noticed that grading work had occurred that was not authorized. And as a consequence, on August 4th, I spoke to the contractor, Aaron Lachal, who explained the reasons for removing the concrete floor and that straw wattles were installed before any earth moving work had occurred. And he explained to me the deficiencies that you saw in the request for modification, and that he would draw up all the changes that he thought would be needed and give them to Mr. Youssef for submission. I don't plan any enforcement action at this time. This work, the work that did occur was not authorized, but because they were very proactive in trying to get it resolved, I don't plan any enforcement action. For 117, 119, and 0 New Road on August 2nd of this month, Commissioner Obert and I met on site with Doug Gray, one of the property owners of 0. He's the property owner's 0 New Road, and discussed with Mr. Gray his concerns about running water from 117 New Road onto his property. Mr. Gray reported that this water flow was generated by an artesian condition when the well for 117 was drilled, along with the discharge of water from under drains that were constructed into the hillside south of the home on the site, not far from the septic system. Mr. Gray objects to the discharge of this water onto his property at any location. The discharge of this water was previously observed to create a water course that flowed from 117 New Road into the Gray's property and then into 119 New Road before crossing under New Road, flowing ultimately to the 5 Mile River. Currently, the water flows disappear on the Gray property, infiltrating back into the ground before nearing the northern border of 119 New Road. The flow of this water is the result of construction activities at 117 New Road, as the condition was not previously observed after the gravel mining operation was completed and prior to the house construction. You recall this was a site that Strategic Commercial Realty mined out the gravel out of this location and had a subdivision approval through the Wetlands Commission, and none of these water sources were identified in the original approvals. So to determine if the reported activities were subject to regulation under Thompson's Inland Wetlands and Watercourses regulations, I need to investigate what information the Northeast District Department of Health has regarding the well, the septic system installation, and any subsurface drains installed nearby, and compare that information with the previously recorded wetlands delineation when the subdivision was approved. And from that, I will be able to determine if there has been a regulated activity that has occurred on 117 New Road. And from that, then determine how that might be addressed. But it's still early on in the investigation of that. It's a complex thing. Here's the situation where there was no water course there before the mining operation occurred. And now there's water clearly flowing at times for more than just a storm incident. And then we've already talked about the 286 Thompson Hill Road. That's the In Acquisition Associates. That was a complaint that I had received, and that has now will be closed because of the pending approval of the wetlands agent approval. Building permits, I did 10 reviews, and unless otherwise noted, they were all in the upland. They were either not in wetlands, watercourses, or upland review area. So I had 74 Donovan Drive, a new home. I had 324 West Thompson Road, a new garage. 10 Wrightson Drive, a new detached garage. 16 Pora Lane, another detached garage. 309 Lowell Davis Road, a 24-foot above ground swimming pool. 68 Riverside Drive, a handicap ramp. 28 Plum Road, another detached garage. 144 Levy Road, a very large shed, 26 by 32 feet. 115 New Road, a new home that was approved under Wetlands Agent Approval 21021. 1290 Riverside Drive, that is a in-ground swimming pool approved under Wetlands Agent Approval 22018. Under miscellaneous, Dan Malo and I are trying to complete the purchase of a locking storage cabinet that was started by Carolyn Werge and I back in 2020, wherein we both encumbered $200 for a total of $400. The storage cabinet that Dan and I would like to purchase exceeds the amount, and we're looking to encumber an additional $200 to cover all costs. As this exceeds the $100 limit I have for encumbering funds under the bylaws, I'm requesting that you pass a motion authorizing me to encumber another $200 for the purchase of the locking storage cabinet. On your screen that you see right now, and that's on page 62 of the Zoom documents, shows a cabinet that we've been looking at. Depending on the color we get, the cost changes. So this was the lowest cost. It was $589. This was at Home Depot so far, but they don't do delivery, and we need to be able to have a little extra money to make sure that we can get the product delivered to the town hall or go pick it up, whatever. So that's why we'd like to, we'll have a total of 800 encumbered, and whatever we don't use would go back to the general fund. But we would like the locking cabinet so that we can lock any equipment that we have, lock it up, instead of having it open in the room where it can disappear. So I'm asking for a motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll
Right.
make a motion to approve the purchase of a locking cabinet for the commission, with an increase in the budgeted amount to 589 plus delivery.
800, I think, Fran.
800?
I think
No, I
every-
would like to,
She wants
I would
to
like
increase
another,
she wants to increase by 200 an amount that we had already approved. But that the money was encumbered, but she couldn't get the action closed because unfortunately Caroline's not doing it.
Right.
So we're just asked to approve an additional 200. Am I correct, Marla?
Will that cover?
that's
the deli-
correct.
All
Okay.
right. I'll amend that to encumber an additional
Encumbered,
200 to cover the cost of the cabinet plus delivery.
The balance too. Diane?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay. My one question for discussion, two actually, this has to be taken out of our budgets. There's not a general equipment budget in the Board of Selectmen's office. That's-
originally, Carolyn and I, when we were researching it, there wasn't really any money available. So that's why we had encumbered the $400 total between her and I. We each, Conservation Commission has already encumbered another $200. So there's currently 600 encumbered, and I want to cover our portion too. So whatever doesn't get used will go back to the general fund, go back to the account. We just don't know right now exactly how much exactly it's going to be, but I'd like to be able to be authorized to encumber up to $200.
Okay.
And I have a question. This looks like it's gonna have to be assembled on site. Yes, nay, yes, no?
No, I think it's already we're going to try to get one that's already assembled.
All right, good luck on that.
Yeah, I know.
It's not fireproof. It's just
No.
a secure cabinet to lock things in. And that seems
Correct.
adequate.
Yes,
And this is the lowest price you found so far, so presumably you check Staples and Office Max and other online.
Yep.
Okay,
Originally it had come when Carolyn was live. Staples did carry the same thing, but they don't carry it anymore. So we may find it somewhere else at even a lesser price, but right now this is what we have as a roundhouse figure. And
move the
Dan's been
question,
doing it.
call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? For the record, it's carried unanimously. Okay. Is there anything else in your report, Marla?
Just that we've been paying off our last fiscal year's purchase orders for legal notices that were encumbered previously, and so now we're starting on the new year. And the legal notices are getting more expensive, and that needs to be reflected in the application fee. So in the encumbrances for legal notices and the fees that the Wetlands Commission is charging as part of the revisions to the regulations, the inland wetlands regulations, I want to change the process by which you figure out how much money you get. And when I get that ready for you, I think it would be best if the commission has a special meeting to discuss regulation changes. And that would probably be in the winter time, not before October anyways.
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Agenda item K, correspondence? None.
None.
Agenda item L, signing of Mylars? None. Oh, by the way, will you have to sign that, Marla, when the woman from Little Pond brings it in? Okay.
No, because it's not a subdivision. The citing of Mylars is used for subdivisions.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's not one for subdivisions. That's just an as-built of the property.
So will we have
That's
to
for
sign
future,
for the Donovan Drive property? There's a new Mylar coming in on that one, right? But not
when,
yet.
whatever Mylars come in, there will be a request to sign off on those, assuming they have all the approvals at this point.
Agenda item M, comments by commissioners? I would only say that, and I did touch on it briefly, that whatever the conditions were in the new road gravel operation that led to this problem today, it created a problem for us. And it created a problem, I think, to a large measure because we don't have a town engineer. We don't have anybody who really could qualify to say, hey, where's the water pressure gonna change on this hillside? What kind of other issues are we gonna have? So we wind up spending an awful lot of energy, and our constituents, the people in the community, don't understand how much our hands are tied. So that's why when I said we're looking at this planning zoning regulations being revised, this is the best time to get it right. And if we get it right now, we'll be able to tweak it up a little bit later. But if we don't get it right now, we're going to have dog's breakfast. And that's not something.
You're gonna have opposition on it one way or the other.
There's
so
going to be opposition on
brace
it.
yourself.
And that's my point. That's my point. I don't think we can dare to risk walking into a town meeting without having taken several extraordinary steps to address the questions, concerns, and arguments, and to find out why that has to be that way. That's why I suggested the town's attorney. If there's, an item in our zoning regs that's a little unpopular, but we say, but that's what the state wants. Here's the state law. We have to keep the state law, or they're coming to arrest us. Maybe me more than somebody else, but. So yeah, so there's going to be opposition, but we don't have to walk into it like sticking our hand into a meat grinder. We can stop and say, hey, is the power off? Pull the plug. Let's check this thing right. And that's not so much us, but we do have an input and we do have a vested interest in the outcome. So agenda item N.
Make a motion to adjourn.
So I'll
Oh,
second.
that's it. No debate. Good night, everybody. Thanks for doing this. I hope I didn't
No vote,
No, you can't debate it. Robert's
but you gotta
rule.
vote.
One, oh, aye. Once an item's been, if you can't debate it, I thought it was resolved. Once it's made and seconded. Hey, I've been wrong before.